it's so wonderful to be with all of you guys here today. How is everyone? You guys are good? I love this so much. I took off my nice skirt today. I was like, it's all women, so it's okay. It's a little tight, but it's cool. We're all women here tonight. I'm so honored to be here, honestly. It has been, like I said, a long time, and this is something that brings me so much joy. So I'll get right into it. I'm here to talk to you about hijab, World Hijab Day, right? This is amazing. Hijab is awesome. Love hijab. Alhamdulillah. I've devoted my whole life to it, in fact. But I just want to tell you kind of the backstory, where it all came from, and hopefully maybe inspire anybody here if you all maybe struggled like I did. I was in 9th grade, and my dad said, "You're going to wear a hijab." And I said, "Okay." And inside I was like, "Oh, okay." But you know what? It was cool. I knew it was coming. He tried to get me to wear it in middle school, and I was like, "No, that's not happening." I knew if I cried in his tears, he would be like, "It's fine. I'm not trying to lose my mom over this." So I would go to my mom's house, and I would take it off. And I would go back to my dad's house, and I'd put it on. And I did this for like 3 years, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. In that time, I was in a halaqah. It was like my first introduction to what that even meant. It was a girls group, beautiful, strong Muslim women I had never really even encountered before. We were learning about our faith. I was really growing into what it meant to be a Muslim woman and what Islam was. And it just gave me this sense of confidence in who I was and what my beliefs were, that at some point in 12th grade, I couldn't do it anymore. That double life I was living with my mom, with my dad, taking it off, putting it on, it just didn't sit right anymore. And so I said to my mom, "Mom, I can't do this. I'm keeping this on now. So deal with it." And she said, "That's fine, but I'm not going to be seen with you. So this is the choice you're making." And I said, "This is the choice I'm making." So for a year, I didn't see my mom. And it sucked. It really sucked. But that was the choice that I had made. That I was going to choose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over myself. And this is why we learn that you love Allah first. You love Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and then you love yourself. Because sometimes you have to make decisions whereby you're going to go against your own nafs, even if that means not seeing your own mother. So it took about a year until it was like, this is dumb now, Mom. Like, come on. And I think in that time, she was really testing my faith to see, is she wearing it because she really wants to, or is this because her dad is making her do it? What's the deal here? And so when she saw that I wasn't taking it off and I was serious and this was real, we reconciled, and alhamdulillah, everything was fine. Now, fast forward. I'm in college now. I'm in my first year of college. I'm a freshman in college, and I'm like a fish out of water. I lived such a sheltered life in the suburbs of Michigan, and I'm in Detroit, in the city, and I'm just living that college life. But I was really shy, and I felt like this was this crazy big world that I don't even know how I got myself into. So one day I was walking to class, and as I'm walking, and it was like this, kind of like a tunnel. There was no turning right or left. It was like you had to go through this straight line thing. And as I'm walking, I see two guys kind of perched. And every single girl that walked past these guys, they would, you know, catcall, whatever. Nasty stuff, right? So I see this happening, I'm like, I'm not equipped for this. I don't know how to deal with this. It's never happened to me before. I don't know what to do here. And without fail, every single girl that walked by it was gross. So I'm like, well, what can I do? I have to go to class. So I kind of just white knuckled it and kept moving. So I walked past them, and as I'm walking past them, minding my own business, they didn't say anything to me. And so I was like, hey, what the hell? And I looked back, and these two boys had their heads down like this, like out of shame, like embarrassed. And I realized in that moment, it was because I was wearing hijab. I realized in that moment, the ayah in Surah Al-Ahzab that I learned back in that halaqah in high school about why we wear hijab, so as to be recognized as women of faith, so as not to be bothered or harassed. That ayah was manifest in that moment. These two men saw me as Mother Teresa, basically, right? As a nun, basically, head covered. I'm a religious woman. I'm a woman of faith, right here. And what happened? They didn't bother me. They left me alone. And in that moment, ooh, what a sweet moment. What a sweet moment when the reason behind something you do isn't blind obedience anymore. It's not out of fear because somebody at the masjid said if you didn't wear hijab you were going to hell. Astaghfirullah al-azim. No, it was purely out of this beautiful love that I had for this garment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed for me to protect me. And it was such a beautiful moment because the reason now that I was wearing hijab had switched in that moment. And it became one of, like I said, blind obedience, which, hey, if that's what you're doing, good for you. I'm not knocking blind obedience whatsoever, but for it to transform and transmute itself into a place of absolute love, oh, it was a beautiful feeling, alhamdulillah. And ever since that day, it's like confirmation bias. Once something like that happens, you see it everywhere. When you're in class and you're talking to your professor and you see how he talks to the girl next to you and you're like, huh, that's interesting. And you just feel as though you're getting a lot more respect than some of your other peers just by virtue of what you look like. You're not even doing much. But you feel it. You feel it. In this girl group, there was probably like 15 girls. And I noticed that the majority of these girls were not wearing hijab, and a couple were. Whereas when I was coming up, you know, whatever, maybe 5 years before them, it was the complete opposite. Everyone, all of us girls were wearing hijab, but some of us didn't. And I just pondered on that. That's interesting, what is this about? So years later when I started hot hijab, I thought, all right, well, number one, we need hijabs. Like, hijabs are too hard to find. I'm done with this. It's good ones, beautiful ones that make me feel pretty and don't, you know, ruin my outfit. But number two, and more importantly, and the reason I'm still here doing this work, because I am an attorney, and fashion is cool, but it's not everything. It really was instilling a sense of confidence into our girls to wear hijab, to feel good in it, to love it, to embrace it, to have that confidence that I did, that moment when I walked past those guys and it felt so good to feel so protected in this garment. And to show and showcase other women who were successful in their hijab because they're wearing hijab, not despite wearing hijab. It was this yearning, this desire to come at it with such love and vigor and appreciation and gratitude for it, rather than something that we did begrudgingly or because our parents told us or because XYZ. And alhamdulillah, it's kind of what's kept me here till today doing this work. Alhamdulillah, I can't complain. And so I suppose my message to all of you, just like your faith journey is a journey of highs and lows, your hijab journey is as well. And so there may be days when you wear it and days when you don't. There may be times when you love it and times when you don't. There may be days when you really struggle and days when it just comes so natural. And that's okay and expected. But here's the one thing. Make sure that you always have your true north. That first intention, that purest of intention that allowed you to put it on in the first place. So in those moments when you're struggling or you don't remember why you put it on, you can go back to that moment. Write it down if you have to. Actually, it's January, and what we do in January at Hijab is we have what's called our Wear It Like You Mean It campaign. Who here knows about the Wear It Like You Mean It campaign? Woo! That's what I'm talking about. We renew our intentions with hijab every year at Hot Hijab with us, the HH fam that's here. Love you all. Shout out to all of you. We do that every year because it is something that does need to get renewed. It's something that maybe our intentions have changed. Like I said, for me, the journey has been such a roller coaster, and the reasons underlying me wearing it have changed over the years. And so that's what we do each year to ensure that we are keeping that purest of intention. We are anchoring ourselves in why we wear it. We do have that true north. So when times get tough, you can come back to center. And here's my final story before we see what beautiful things lie ahead of us. Now, I told you about high school, college, law school. Here I am, I'm 38 years old, so we can fast forward a lot. But even at 38 years old, I mean, I don't know, this was maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. I'll tell you this story, because the journey and the struggles never end. So I was at work, at my office. Thank you, 1 minute, I got you. This story will be 1 minute long. I'm at work. I go to the bathroom, took off my hijab because my bun was bothering me, took all my hair down, and I looked great. I looked great, and you all know that feeling I'm talking about. So I'm in the bathroom looking at my hair and admiring how beautiful I am. And I said, what would happen if I just walked out like this? You know, don't we all have that thought? What woman in here hasn't had that thought is the real question. So I sat there and I said, I'm not leaving this bathroom until I feel good about putting this hijab back on. I'm not going to put it on and be upset that I had to put it on and walk out and cover my beauty. And so I sat there in the mirror and I looked at myself and I said, Melanie, get it together. And I had to rack my brain to get this thought out of it in order to, again, put it on feeling good, because I wasn't going to put it on unless I felt good. So I allowed myself to go there. I kind of sank into the fantasy. I was like, okay, so I go out, I'm looking great. Everyone sees me, great. Wow, I'm so pretty. And then I thought about, hold on. But all those people who are going to see me, how will they know that I'm Muslim? How will they know who I am without me having to speak? And I thought, Mel, you're so dumb. Put your hijab back on. And I put my hijab back on, and I swear, had I not done that, I probably would have lived in that fantasy for God knows how long. But sometimes in those shadows, you have to let it play out. Let it play out. It's okay. Don't be afraid, because at the end of the day, trust that you know the answer. You'll get there in the end. But you gotta go through the journey, and I did it in my head, alhamdulillah. Maybe some of you will do it in real life, who knows? How many women do you know have taken off hijab only to come back to it in the end? And what a beautiful journey that is. So it's okay. What I'm trying to tell you is it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Whatever you're going through, Allah knows. He's with you. He loves you always, no matter what. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put so much love into our hearts for hijab and make it this beautiful journey of connection with Him and obedience, but also love and gratitude. Ya Rab. Ameen. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.